Ta-da! Was just renaming myself. So, how are you today? Let me just get stuff here. I'm doing something really exciting. So, if you're on Patreon, there is something really exciting coming up. So, stay tuned. Um, and I just want to share my screen with you so we can get started. So, there you go. Share. Ta-da. Okay, cool. So, this is Burly Talk number 7. Number 6, I just did on Wednesday when I was preparing for the show, and that was a bit different because it was kind of getting ready with me. Yeah, I'll post soon also on Patreon with some extra hints, for whoever is there. This is what I do with all of these calls, by the way. So it's free for everybody to watch on YouTube. And if you want more, including participating, being able to comment, and then I reply to you, and even choose topics, I will start to create polls as well. So you can choose what comes next. That's all on Patreon. So feel free to check it out. I have the description box, the link to it. And I just want to review. So just this week on Patreon, I shared a little PDF on how to make your place look like you, whether you like pink, whether you like your rock, goth, whatever, whether you have a whole house for you, or maybe you share your house. So you have a little corner, maybe just your desk, but how to make it the way you want it to look, and also for all budgets. So maybe you can spend as much as you would like, then yes, go for it, girl. Maybe you are on a budget, and that's also okay. There is so much you can do yourself. And that too, if you are one person like me who mostly buys stuff because I'm not very talented with my hands. And also, most importantly, it doesn't bring me any joy. If it did, I could work on the skill, but I don't enjoy doing things by hand much. You can also do a lot of things yourself. So there is something for everybody. And that was all about the place. So your environment, what is around you. And what I want to talk next is this is not the only thing that matters, of course. It's great if you can look at your desk and it's all like the color you like, it's all red or black, any color you love. Everything fits a style that you love. Everything looks like you. It looks like it's your place. That's all lovely, but there is more to it. So today's topic is environment. And when I'm talking about environment, I mean the vibe. I mean the energy around. I'm all about creating spaces. And by the way, I can highly recommend a book called Culture Codes by Daniel Coyle. And then he talks about like very successful groups around the world and how they created this culture for their communities. So that together with a lot of other things I've been learning and also an experience I had this week came to this today. So first, it's what I just said. It's not all about the look. So you can have the most beautiful place. You can have the most playful environment. If you've been to my school or you've seen videos, it looks gorgeous. But if the energy is not right, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is. The energy has also to be at the right place. And you, as the queen of your environment, and also, I mean, when you go around, because you carry that with you, you carry your energy around you. And I'm not talking about anything mystical or, it's just see someone on the streets. You can see that you feel like their vibe. You feel like, oh, by the way they speak to others, the way they look at others, the way they're smiling or something, you can tell a lot. So it's nothing woohoo. It's really about seeing someone and being able to tell, yeah, is that a person I want to connect with or not? And you carry that around with you all the time. So we're going to talk about safety. So the best thing you can do for any place, any community, and for yourself is to create a safe space. And that starts with you. And I want to give you this example. So first, I've been reading this book. So I highly recommend it. And it talks all about, like, the first thing is to make somewhere safe. And it's almost a buzzword, right? I've seen so many people talk about, yeah, here's a safe space for this. Here's a safe space for that. But truth is, many say they're safe and they're not. So I actually have an example. I was just on someone's group before, and then they posted something that I felt, maybe I might be wrong, but it felt like they were using my words when they posted something, and it was sugar coated. So it was like, yeah, she's amazing and this is great and ta-na-na. However, she's doing this and that. And that made me feel very unsafe because that was something that was shared in a private conversation. And it's something that I would hope someone would talk to me first before posting something publicly. Also, I could have clarified a lot had they talked to me before, So actually things are not the way they seem. And remember, everybody has their own lives and they're fighting their own battles. So there are reasons behind things. So creating a safe space is about allowing people to just be who they are and make decisions without slamming them for their decisions, and if you feel something, talking to them, but yeah, not like third grade, I'll just post on Twitter or something. No, it felt very unsafe for me. So I'm here to help you grow and become better for yourselves and for the world, because I think that's what makes the world a better place. And yeah, and it felt real, especially because it was definitely somewhere I would probably come across that. So this person, for example, doesn't follow me on YouTube or anything, and not on Patreon. So I'm pretty sure this person will not come across what I'm telling you right now. So that makes a difference, I find. Because it's not like, okay, I'm saying that hopefully she will read it and take some action. No, this is just, okay, I'm using this as something that I can help people with. This experience, sharing the way I feel, and being vulnerable. So it's all about, I don't feel safe in some space if someone does something like that. And then I can share that with you. And I always find that things come to place together. So at the same time as I'm reading a book about creating safe spaces, I had an experience that made me feel unsafe in a place where I felt safe before. So I was like, okay, this is, coming up quite a lot. I should speak about it. So, what do I mean with safe for you first and then others? So it's all connected. So basically, once you make something safe for you, and then you can apply that to other people, that will create a domino effect. So for example, if you make a mistake, let's say, I'm always comparing to dance lessons and burlesque because that's what we're into. If you are in dance class and you make a mistake and you blame yourself and you're like, yeah, I'll never get this, then you have this kind of reaction, that we maybe we already talked about on how to help cut it. Or you're like, no, I don't feel well, but I'll do this anyway. And everybody should do the same. So you're being harsh on yourself. And whereas a little discipline is good, finding this balance between, okay, this is really just me pushing as mothering myself, as we talked before. And this is me pushing too much. There is this line there. So if you cross this line for yourself, chances are you're going to cross this line for other people too. So first, you create a safe environment for yourself. So you're kind and you're gentle to yourself. You're like, well, okay, I made a mistake. So let's try and do it again and again until I don't make this mistake anymore. And that's okay. I know I'm a hard worker. I will make it happen. And that's a way kinder version of treating a mistake than the blaming. And that creates the whole effect, because once you can be kind to yourself, you can expand. And when someone else makes a mistake, you can be kind to them too. And the other way around can also happen. And I see that a lot. I see a lot of women being super kind to others and not as kind to themselves. So now it just came to me. I wrote there, for yourself first and for others. And I'll also add this for the other way around. So if you notice that other people may make mistakes and you're like, well, okay, I understand. Let's move on from here. Can you do that to yourself? Can you make a mistake and then forgive yourself and like, yeah, well, first, progress is not linear. We're still progressing. Let's move on from here. We're good. So have this talk with yourself too. So it goes both ways. And what I also mean with others is the next point, which is the thick skin. We say a lot that in arts, you should have thick skin because being a creative, you are going to put your soul out there. So whatever you create, be it like for us in dance, it could be a design, it could be drawings, it could be paintings, anything that you put your soul into it, and other people will come and see and like it or not, criticize it or not, that can be really hard to take. So people say that we should have thick skin when we are in arts and so on. And I do agree, not because it's like, oh, it's tough and it should toughen up. Because thick skin brings growth. Once you remember that other people have a completely different view from yours, and you don't have to be liked by everyone, people will feel more comfortable to criticize your work. And critics is, so one thing that I believe is, many people think that once something is criticized, you must take it. And that's not true. Everybody's allowed to say whatever they want to. Whether you take it or not, that's totally your option. And they shouldn't be mad about it. And you should be free to make your own decisions. So everything I'm saying here to you, again, you are all totally free to agree, disagree, and take whatever works for you. I don't expect all of you to just sit there and be like, nodding. Please don't. There is no growth in that. So if there is something you disagree, my idea of safe space is like, yeah, you can come and you can tell me. You can tell me, oh, I don't understand this. Maybe, I think you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. And that's the space that I want to create. I want you to feel safe to do that. And then you come to me and then I'll reply and I'll say, well, I did this because of that, exactly what I missed from that person that I just told you about. I wish they had opened the conversation. Because in the end, you don't have to agree on everything, but you should be free to express yourself in any way you find suitable. So here's the same thing. So if you have thick skin, if you accept feedback and criticism, people will feel more comfortable to share that. So you are creating a safe space for other people to give you feedback. And feedback is the most valuable thing you can get. Take it or not, it is amazing to listen. So I had several feedback sessions with people. I had a very tough one once. I had easier ones. I had people who were more versed into like putting their thoughts into words. So it was cool. I had conversations, people who were like, yeah, maybe you said that. I'm not sure, if you mean that. And if you do, maybe, you could do this. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean, however. And it's like you can take it, but it's always no good for you to know. So it's not because someone is sharing their opinion and their feedback that you have to take it. You're like, yeah, well, I understand your point of view. However, I prefer to do things this way. But thank you very much. Please keep sharing. It's very good for me to know that you saw that. So I will pay more attention in the future so I can express myself even better in the future. It's always so amazing. However, if you always take it like, oh no, you shouldn't say that. No, now I feel really bad you said that to me, and now I have to change everything. Or if you have some kind of, if you take it too deeply, as in, I have to always take the feedback and act on it. Or if you take it too harshly, as in they're criticizing me and therefore we can't be friends anymore or something like that, then people will not feel comfortable giving you feedback. And it's very difficult to grow without feedback. Very difficult. You can probably, but allowing feedback to come will make it so much easier. So there was a kind of a longer talk than I wanted to, but I hope it was clear. And what I would like then to offer here for you is some journaling prompt, as always. So my question for you is, how can I create habits that will make people safe around me and support my growth and also their growth, I would say. So, for example, when someone comes to you and offers feedback, what can be a habit? So for me, for example, first thing that I do is I listen carefully, or I read carefully if it's that, to make sure that I understand it, especially if it's in written. It can be very tricky because if it's something like, oh my God, you're a little nervous about, maybe you miss a few words and then you miss the tone. So it can be like, okay, let me read it again. So especially if it's in written. Then if first listen, open your eyes, be open. That's my go to when I'm faced with the situation. Second, so I have three things that I do. So first is this. Second is I check for misunderstandings. Because sometimes it's a misunderstanding. So sometimes someone says something and I'm like, oh, but that's not what I meant. And that's actually great because you're like, oh, wait, I said this or I did that, and this person understood as this. Okay, so maybe my message is not clear. So that's a very, very good measurement, I would say, thermometer, for you to know whether your message is clear or not. So then I check for misunderstanding. So listen or read carefully. I then check for misunderstandings. And then I take notes and take it or leave it. So I make a decision pretty much. That's my third step. So I have I can highly recommend, by the way, also. It's called Notion. Notion is kind of a note-taking browser app. And I have one thing which is like notes, which is kind of fluid notes. I really like because they do everything. They have like to-do lists. They have long note-taking. You can do journaling. You can do a lot of things there. You can save pictures, links, etc. It's called Notion. So I call them fluid notes. So whenever I'm in a meeting or something, people are giving me feedback, etc., I just type it down because then I have a thought about it. I'm like, okay, and this is actually a pretty good idea. I'll do it. Or I'm like, no, I don't think that's for me. So I'll leave it. but it's there somewhere. Maybe I can come back later. Who knows? You know. So for me, this is the habit that I created towards feedback. And little by little, I think this creates a safe space for people to come because they see my reaction, they see it's welcomed. So they're like, okay, it's good, I can give feedback. And that helps me grow so much because people can come and talk to me. And for you, what is it? What are habits that you can create that's the word I wanted, foster. Foster. When I was writing, it was like, what is, it's not really support. Yeah, foster my growth. So what are the habits that you can create that will make people feel comfortable to come and help you out? So thank you very much for being here. And I will share, with my patrons soon, both Burly Talks, the one that I did earlier this week and this one. And I see you around. Have